Whiplash!
Battle Armor He-Man and Skeletor, Whiplash and Buzz-Off each sold separately.
And I, He-Man, have a powerful wing warrior named Buzz-Off! So it's the Super Stinger Buzz-Off! Against the vicious tail of Whiplash! Ha-ha! Now, may the mightiest warrior win!
Buzz-Off and Whiplash figures from the Masters of the Universe collection. Other action figures also sold separately from Mattel.
Hello, welcome to Master Powercast. Our focus for this week's episode is going to be Buzz-Off, our heroic spy in the sky, with an approximate release date, April 28th, 1984. Buzz-Off very much reoccurring throughout all iterations. Many comics, he pops up a handful of times. Of course, we have Filmation. He's got his NYP episodes. And then when we get down to the figure aspect of Buzz-Off, a plethora of him to go around as well. So a very popular character. You oftentimes see him paired up with Mekaneck. I think that's mostly due to the Filmation appearance. But Tyler, where does Buzz-Off rank for you in terms of the other heroic warriors? Are you putting him more towards the top end? If we're looking at this like a wrestling thing.
Okay.
Main event, upper mid-card jobber status. Where's Buzz-Off kind of fall into for you?
I have to say too, I can't see anybody as a jobber in this mythology. Like I don't see any there. I'm not like other fans. I can't sit there and say like, well, you got to fill out the jobber list with somebody. Like, well, then I'd probably put in fucking, Aramash from Return of Evil from that shitty episode. It would not be none of the vintage characters from the original line. There would be no jobbers at all. They would all be, mid card to upper, and Buzz-Off would be upper for sure. Okay. I know I say I have my finite list of my tops, but I think Buzz-Off was one of those characters who, as a kid, I desperately wanted, and
let's talk about that part of it for you. Then was his few Filmation appearances what you saw first, or was it the action figure first?
I was aware of the figure. I didn't own it. I wouldn't own the figure till sometime in elementary school. I think I traded somebody. He was missing everything. No helmet, no wings, no axe, nothing. And I wouldn't get him with wings until I saw him at Happy's Flea Market outside.
Ooh. And
he had the wings. And that's all. I was like, all right, hey, that's cool with me. And I got him dirt cheap there. So it was a bare bones one, but I can't remember what I traded for it. But it was I was aware that I had the PJs. I had a pajama set with him on it, and I would see him on the cross sell artwork and pictures. That's the only way I saw. And then when Filmation came along, or when I got to see it, was in Disappearing Dragons on the Betrayal of Stratos VHS tape. And you talk about
well, because I mean,
it left me speechless to see him, Mekaneck, and Webster and Cobra. Because up to that point, I didn't know He-Man and the Insect People mini comic. Mm-hmm. So the idea of pairing Buzz-Off and Mekaneck together was just like a double, like, oh my god, explosion in my brain of like seeing two characters I so desperately fucking wanted as a kid. I loved Mekaneck. I saw him from afar at my brother's daycare or preschool center. That's how a lot of times it was. So, but
it's like preschool, churches. It's just
that was one of those things too, because they were like hand-me-downs. Like like my brother, at his preschool they had the Ewok Village, Rambo, and Mekaneck, and he would tell me like they got the Ewok Village at my preschool, and they got Rambo and that guy whose neck extends. Mekaneck, yeah, that's him. And I remember like so desperately wanting to like go with my mom to drop off my brother. Or one time I did get to go, and of course I couldn't run over there and start playing. But I saw the Ewok Village for the first time, Rambo in hand, and Mekaneck. You're missing everything, but it was Mekaneck. It was a big deal, man. Like
you just need to.
It's a shame I just put it in my pocket. Travis Weddle was there. He's like, just take it. No one's looking. They don't know what this guy is half the time anyway.
Walking out with the Ewok Village, and your mom's like, "What is this?" It's like, "No, it's okay. They said I could take
it." Yeah. The teacher said I could have it. But and then getting a complete Buzz-Off. It was sometime I think in my late teens, maybe early 20s with everything else. But he was definitely a highly sought after character, because there were so many up to that point I wasn't even aware existed. Like when I'm searching for Buzz Off, I wasn't aware of the last wave, other than Blade, Sword, and Gwildor, the Sorceress. Didn't know Mosquito, didn't know Scareglow, didn't know Ninja, knew of Clan Champ, just didn't know his name. I was really hungry to get Buzz Off, Mekaneck, and Roboto in particular around this time frame. I just an insane urge to own those figures, and so Buzz Off. Anytime I'd write a story or attempt to write a story, Buzz Off was always worked into it.
Okay.
As a kid, I just saw him as just a prominent ally for him, and I still do to this day. And I know Kevin's a big fan of the character, so I've worked him in a couple of illustrations. One you guys have seen, the other one you guys haven't seen yet. Just because I like Buzz Off, and he loves Buzz Off too. So
it's always a plus, especially when you have him sometimes draw things that he's not particularly fond of.
Well, and I've asked him about that. Like, he's not a fan of New Adventures of He-Man at all, but I've seen what he can do with it, and he does a fucking phenomenal job. Like, to me, he says that's kind of a challenge to him. If there's an aspect of He-Man or a character in anything he doesn't like, he finds it more challenging to really deliver like a really edgy interpretation of the character, which I don't think he was a fan of the movie, but everything he's done for me movie related wise has been, and that's currently what he's working on coloring right now.
Oh, okay.
Is something to do with the movie. And it looks like the inks are breathtaking, and the colors right now are like, it's just,
well, I can't wait to see that when it's
finished. It hopefully should be done this week, and then he'll start on the next one, which will be I'm planning at the moment, the way my mind works, is a mock Marvel comic book cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting to see it, and then of course we will make sure that we show all of you at home.
Oh yeah.
These beautiful works of art. But back to Buzz Off. He first appears in the December 1982 Master Universe Bible under the name Bug Off. Of course, we don't have Bug Off listed here yet. You will see another kind of design that looks very reminiscent of that. But goes on to say here, Bug Off, part man, part beetle, but with high-tech wings, flies swiftly and fast. His sword and lance are his stingers. Bug Off's beetle-like armor protects him from many dangers, including some of the laser weapons of Skeletor and his crew. So that's December 82. We also have here in July of 82, Colin Bailey finished an illustration of a character called Wasp Man, who has many design touches in common with the final Buzz Off action features. So Roger Sweet designed a character called Mandible Man, who seems to fit the description of Bug Off more from the Master Universe Bible. So we'll start off with some of the illustrations that we have early on here. So here we have Buzz Off written up top, but if you look down here at the bottom, we do have Wasp Man down here. So
which I always thought was a very interesting concept, and I had hoped or had wished that they had worked in that kind of character as like an ally to Buzz Off or something like that. I like, especially the one that's used like He-Man's head sculpt with like that one there. I love that figure. I think that's a very cool looking concept.
I really like the helmet too.
The helmet's beautiful. I mean, it's a work of art.
I mean, you could have gotten away with that too, working in just here's another part of his race kind of deal. And
there are some that are more human-like than others. I don't know. I just think it looks great. It's a beautiful sculpt. And I'm glad we got the one that we did. But there's just this concept of a humanoid insect man who looks more human, like he's got like the Buzz Off, or the Skeletor legs and the Skeletor arms, but just seeing the human face there, it just repurposed He-Man like it. I just thought it was a beautiful concept.
Wonder Bread He-Man head.
Yeah. Mandible Man. That's another kick-ass concept.
Yeah.
And because that one has more of a villain look, but easily could be a heroic warrior of some kind. Like that.
You could even, I mean, obviously, of course, you think like timeline wise too. I guess it could sort of work out, but if you had a character very similar to like the Fly remake, where here's a human that just got turned into this nasty looking creature.
That that would be a fun concept. Is almost like you could either make him a Preternia character, something that, or part of the modern mythology of a man that was turned into an insect and is taken in by Buzz-Off's people, and to embrace what you are, like, that you were once human, but you're not anymore. We don't know of any way at this point to turn you back into what you were.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's, boy, not now the juices are clicking, because that could be something that when He-Man learns of this, like, maybe the sorceress can help. And the sorceress says, there's a, not to repeat the dragon's gift, but that what turned him into an insect man is there's an element that needs to be retrieved for me to, finish the incantation that could turn you back into your human self. And you start to realize over time, like, as much as I hate what I am, it serves a great purpose. And you know what? They go through this big epic battle trying to get this element. Skeletor's trying to stop them, or there's all these creatures and obstacles, and they finally get it, and they get to the sorceress, and he's like, I don't know if I want to go back to being human. I mean, I did a lot of good helping my friend He-Man, helping Buzz-Off.
I mean, I know you were like, you didn't want to repeat a dragon's gift, but I kind of would like the excuse to have maybe Granomir be more the focus of maybe he could be able to do something about it to a certain extent.
That was my first, as I started talking, my instinct was to, like, go with Granomir.
Yeah.
But then I almost feel like, would that devalue the dragon's gift of, like, going to him, and that's how you introduce him, is like, we need your help, which he would, at this point, he would gladly do that for He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But to make his purpose of, like, go to him to, hey, look, you're the wisest of dragons. You have the most ancient of knowledge on this planet, more than the sorceress and more than anybody else. Like, would you be able to do it? And, like, could he just snap his fingers and do it? Like,
I mean, I would like to see it maybe be Granomir thinking that it could be easy, and then it does prove to be somewhat of a challenge, and then still ultimately at the end of the day, this character decides, no, I'm just going to embrace what I am now. Maybe
that, or Granomir talks to him about it. Like, I like to think, like, at some point Granomir starts to warm up to anyone that's a friend of He-Man's.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't judge or dismiss them because they're human or they're not a dragon. And he decides to dissect, Mandible Man's personality of, like, okay, what is it that you miss so much about being a human? Like, getting him to recognize that what you consider, like, is such a detriment and a curse. It's like, yeah, I used to hate humans. I find them vain, greedy. And it goes through his whole, like.
I mean, I think it would be a good idea that it would work in a line of dialogue where Granomir is still kind of shitting on humans. That would be fun.
Yeah, why the hell would you want to be a human again?
Yeah.
You're a friend of He-Man's, but you have something that most humans, great power, great strength. You can fly. Things that most no humans will know the way that you do, and I think there's a great seed of a good story there of working Granomir into this, and yeah, I'll do it. But then looks at him like, you want to be human again, like, especially like after dealing with Torm and the return of Granomir, turning him human and not being a dragon. Like, you want to be human, like, I almost feel like then too, if Torm goes off to be happily ever after.
I think you could work it into where he ends up not being. He can work in a line. It's like, yes, he seemed very happy and content at first, but blah, blah, blah.
Then in real life, his wife is a bitch.
It's like, do you really want the same thing, Mandible Man?
Think about it here, man.
Think about it.
I love these promotional images too that were used to promote, like, the current roster of figures in '84, man. And these just seem like such natural enemies. Two bug characters, one a spider, one a bee, that you would naturally pit them against each other. And I frankly, I think that, God, that's a mini comic cover.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God.
Gavin.
Here's
Here's another. Here's one of the painted you can kind of see here, like with
some of the kind of the roughness of the prototype there, painted prototype. I had always wished, and it just because the helmet never stays on, it always kind of flops around. And I wish it was secured on there or it was molded on there, because I think for the longest time I saw Buzz Off without the helmet, and then when I saw him in Filmation, okay, I thought that was just part of his head. And then when you actually get the figure, like, no, you take the helmet off and it never stays on. So anytime you're playing with it, the helmet just, it doesn't stay secure. It doesn't snap on. There's no kind of like grooves for it to kind of rest on.
Yeah. I always hated figures that would do that. Like, I mean, I still like the figure, but it was just always disheartening anytime. I always think of Bravestar. Like his hat never really wants to stay on that well. Like you have to really smush it down in order to get. But any little slight movement, it'll just. And that's why you got to think too. One of the reasons you got this figure with nothing included, like that helmet gone. Like kids don't keep track of shit like that.
No. So. And the axe too. It's when because I don't think it didn't register me when I saw the cross artwork that he came with an axe.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw him in Filmation, he's got the big lance, the Stinger lance. Like, oh my God, that is the perfect weapon for him. And then you realize he doesn't come with that. I really got spoiled by that. I'm like, man, I can't go back to having an axe, like a small axe. Like the Stinger lance just looks so iconic with him.
Yeah. But down the road, when we start to see more of the figures here.
This beautiful cross artwork is, it's a thing of beauty. And the brown and the yellow, like the various brown, the two shades of brown and the yellow with a little touch of blue.
Mm-hmm.
He's got one of the most beautiful color schemes of all the figures. There's something so striking.
You wouldn't expect it to pop, and somehow it still does.
Oh my God. It's a masterpiece. I mean, he really is. I mean, you can say there's some figures that are more subdued in their color design, but his with 3 colors that make up what a B character would look like. I mean, it's just stunning with like the kind of chocolate brown to the light brown, and then the like the gold yellow, and then the translucent yellow for the wings, and then the helmet matches the stripes on his chest there, and he's just such a beautiful looking. And all the technology, the gears and the wires in his wings is a beautiful detail as well, which when I finally got the wings in person and saw that for the first time, like, oh my God, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, there's something about translucent plastic on an action figure that works really well.
I mean, he's just...
there's the Tyler version. That's
the version I pretty much had, a good portion of my life, but I didn't care.
Yeah. Because
if you look at the Battle Bones box art, he's depicted that way with no helmet, which is very, very strange.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that a little more often.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But look how vascular his forearm is.
Yeah.
Like they throw in some intense, like, Johnny.
He's very veiny.
Yeah, he's very veiny there, but it looks awesome. Oh yeah, it's an amazing card art by Aaron McCarthy, which we've discussed before, but it's so striking. God, I wish I had owned him when I was little. Oh my God.
See the colorized version of that here in a moment, but here he is on card. Twist his waist, spread his wings,
make him take to the air.
Here's the back. The colorized version, then here's
all that beautiful cross artwork and the instructions on how to work the figure there.
Helmet is removable. It's like, it's just gonna fall
you
off.
don't have there's no choice. It comes off whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Which is definitely one of those things. And there's the alteration there. Man, $1.99 for Buzz Off.
Yeah, so you can see in this one, we talked about this before, that they flip the image.
Yeah.
Then also we got a couple different characters that pop up on the back here. We got Orko.
Yeah. Flash. Which kind of makes it look like it might have been the latter half of 84. Probably by this point, most of the 84 roster has been released.
$2.
Oh. That's the PJs that I have. It's a picture of me sleeping. And I'm wearing that that my mom took of me. And I thought this was one of the most magical images, like a Buzz-Off flying and just some random castle down below the clouds. It's just so fucking cool, man. You talk about rare.
We get our 3-pack here with Mossman and Mechanic.
Which I definitely was an 85 release with Mossman being in it, which don't know if it was early 85. Is like kind of interesting. Mossman is like, hey, if you missed out on the 84 wave, here they are with a brand new figure for 85. And this makes all the sense in the world. The 3 spies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, this is a match made in heaven. Like, this is the comic book series. These 3 guys on a tag team. This is a faction.
Yeah, you got a name for him?
Not right off. Because that one needs to be kick-ass. Needs to put fear in the hearts of evil.
I mean, would you put Spy in the name or Spies in the name?
I might try to work something like it. Had to be a fun He-Man theme name, of course, but yeah, I don't want to butcher and come up with something fucking lame or something like that, But it just seemed like they would be such a unique trio together, the 3 spies of the heroic warriors.
And here he is packaged with Fisto. I'm assuming this
mail
was
away 2 packs.
Yeah, mail away. So
which I'm assuming it was probably one of those were like a JCPenney exclusive.
Yeah, that's what
a lot of those 2 packs they did.
I was about to bring that up. It's like I want to say these were JCPenney.
Yeah, a lot. There's the box art right there with no helmet.
Yep. And the Battle Bones box, and then
that I always found fascinating. That Buzz-Off was the captive of the Fright Zone box art, which I thought was so cool, so brilliant. And you see, Earl Norton worked in the Stinger Lance in there. Like that's top tier right there, man.
I feel like we see this piece of art a lot.
And you know what? It'll never stop.
Here he is on one of the other posters.
Yeah, that's the Eternia poster. Yep, because I'm looking at it right now. That's the first William George, like the big collective poster from '84 with the whole roster, and him and Stratos, like putting him as like swapping him out with Mechanic as like a constant ally for Buzz-Off. I think looks awesome. And that's the Earl Norm like poster where all the images are kind of like messed around with, and it's like a big puzzle, but a beautiful poster.
Then of course from the magazine.
Yeah, look at that. That was epic as hell. So vibrant. And like Buzz-Off, just I wish he was in more posters.
Yeah, because I mean, even if it's just a simple design like the pajamas, it's just him flying above the clouds, or like him and Stratos flying together or something.
Yeah, and I love this because this is '86, 2 years after he's been released, and he's used in the most prominent part, like selling the slime pit toy. He's taking center stage, not Flying Fist He-Man, the current variant at the time. Buzz-Off is like, I mean, obviously get the slime pit over. But I love that Buzz-Off is featured in this like 2 years later. Like he's not. That was one of the cool things about the marketing. There were a lot of times they would bring back older, like Beastman was still used, Evelyn's still used.
Well, I think it's you kind of have to, because these characters are showing up often enough in Filmation.
Yeah,
and they're on reruns on various channels and stations. So yeah, I think it's important to keep them included as we're going on. Obviously, you want to put over the new stuff that's out there, but if and
a lot of these figures are still in circulation at the time.
Yeah.
So I think if they feel like they can get maybe some more, and maybe Earl Norm just liked the character.
It could have. I kind of wonder about that often. If like, did they present him with this saying, all right, you need to include the slime pit, and we need Flying Fist, He-Man in here. Here is a very small list of characters that you can put in the slime pit. You choose. I feel like it may have not have been that way, but that's why I wish that we could ask.
Yeah, what were the parameters when you're designing a poster? Like, because I think about like the first magazine, the one that you just picked up recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's got I think it had like two 2 posters in it. Obviously, the creme de la creme with Clawful, Whiplash, and Webstore. It's the 84 class on display. You know, it's all the heavy hitters other than Cobra Khan and Jitsu didn't make the cut in that one, unfortunately. But it's pretty much getting over the 84 wave, and I think a schematic of the Dragon Walker came with it. And then after that, it's, you know, the 85 wave and so on and so on. And I'm sure there were probably some directives that were given to him of what they needed in to help with marketing. But, you know, I'm sure he was probably, you know, like, I really like the visual of this character. Do you mind if I work him in? You're like, no. As long as you're getting over this new toy or this new character, you can work in some, you know, personal favorites of yours. He was probably cool as shit to talk to about any of this stuff.
It's like, Earl, you do what you need to do.
Whatever you want to, man. Just make it look badass because we know you're going to do that anyway.
So here's the list of mini comics that Buzz-Off appears in. We have The Secret Liquid of Life, He-Man and the Insect People, The Obelisk, Grizzlor, The Legend Comes Alive, Mantana and the Menace of the Evil Horde, The Treachery of Modulok, The Flying Fist of Power, and The Hordes of Hordak.
And I will show off one more other item here.
This is the commemorative.
The commemorative Buzz-Off for people who are not too familiar with this. Me and Nathan will go over this line in more extensive detail actually quite soon.
Yeah.
But he was one of the selected characters that you could vote on. I think the second wave of the commemorative figures you could actually vote on, and this was one I did vote on. And you get like a nice detail, like a glossy, because when they came out with these, they wanted to make sure if you want to keep these in box, you could still like know what it looked like on the back of the packaging. So you got a reprint of the mini comic, and it will look like the actual like this on the inside. But if you didn't want to open it up, you'd have this nice, like, you know, beautiful glossy backing to it. And the only difference was like these little. Well, you know, I'll save that for the discussion. But I just want to add that he was part of that commemorative line,
which I'm glad that you pulled him off, because I don't think that I have him. When we get more to the other figures, I don't think I have the commemorative on there, so it's good that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
But his most prominent appearance in the mini comics probably has to be He-Man and the Insect People. So here's a couple of panels from that. Take a look at. We're not going to do any like deep dive.
We'll save that for another day. We'll do a discussion on this one.
Yeah,
but Alfredo Alcala does the art on this one here. Does a fun job, and then the Obelisk was another one of his as well, which that's a pretty crummy mini comic. It's not horrible, but it ain't great either.
And then we have Grizzlor, the Legend Comes Alive, which
courtesy of Bruce Timm doing the artwork in this one. Which it has a fun premise, but just falls flat in the end. It's something that I think, I don't know. You know what? That's something too. I feel like we might need to do like a mini comic makeover, or the good and the bad and the makeover.
I thought wasn't there like the redo that you did of all 5?
Oh yeah,
of these like about a year ago. I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, whereas Grizzlor was more featured at the Fright Zone as like the keeper of the Fright Zone, like the place at like the prison section. So, I take that back.
And then
I forgot we went through pretty much all of those
we
comics.
Yeah, we redid every single one, because you had it laid out to where they all sort of interlocked together. Yeah, and it was
you had to buy each member of the Horde to get the complete story.
Yeah. The Steel Trap mind is starting to get a few holes in it.
It's gonna happen from time to time, but it will never grow dry. It will the well will never dry up.
And here are the 4 Filmation appearances. So we have Island of Fear, Disappearing Dragons, The Good Shall Survive, and Search for a Son. So out of the 4 of these, Disappearing Dragons by far the best, even though Buzz-Off is essentially he's there. He has a little battle with Webstore and Cobra Khan, and then he kind of spends the remainder of the episode with Mechanic being captive for He-Man to swoop in and save the day. But it's easily the best episode. Like, The Good Shall Survive is a shitty episode. There is one part that I found particularly funny. We will go ahead. We'll play that clip right now.
No, these do not belong to you.
And then, of course, you have Search for a Son. Mechanek's got a kid, and it rained really hard and blew him away. And then we have Count Marzo that's there, that's basically saved the kid, and it's kind of holding this over Mechanek, and that is also not a good episode.
Nope,
at all. But there was something about The Good Shall Survive. The voice work in it just seems so odd. It seems very deadpan and stiff to me compared to other episodes that I've watched. And I just found that really interesting.
It's a concept, another episode that like had a good idea but executed very poorly.
Yeah, Skeletor's like, yeah, we can take this, and then we're gonna go and take all of Randor's food supply, so they'll starve and they'll have no other option than to come to me. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, and then when they have their big showdown at Snake Mountain, everyone can just block magical blasts. Like Ty-Kor just holds his hands up, and Buzz-Off just holds his hand up like that. It's like, is it this is you guys could have had a much more grandiose finale with the three of them taking on Cobra Khan, Webster, and Skeletor, and Snake Mountain. But no, it's just blast, block, blast. And then, everyone's just dismantled so quickly, and it's just stomach aches.
Yeah.
Baking soda, and just like, oh my God. It's
it's all by mistake too, because Orko fucks up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He fucks up. And I remember specifically watching this in the summer of 11th grade, or heading into our senior year at high school, because that's when I got the whole set, was the summer before senior year. And watching this episode, I think around the 4th of July, and being excited it was another episode with Buzz-Off in it, and Webster and Cobra Khan were kind of in it, and then really trying hard to like the episode and going back a few other times and like, I can't do this. This episode's just not good. It's just, it's a season. There are worse episodes from season 2. Believe me, there are. Yeah, but it's not. It's a waste of a night. Like the design of Ty-Kor and the Ty-Cons is fine. I like that. I don't mind that at all. But I think this whole concept of just food. And it's like Skeletor was after everyone's food in Island of Fear, which that name does not work for that episode. I have a much better idea for the Island of Fear, and it's not that. And it's a shame. And Island of Fear should have been really good. Like, even if it was just this island that Skeletor's moving around, it goes off in this goofy direction, which I liked when I was younger because it was a Buzz-Off episode. Whiplash is in it. And but as it's got problems. We discussed on the Fans of Power. Everyone shit on it, and I get it. It was my suggestion to do it too, because I guess I thought that people might think it might be kind of fun. Like, no, everyone was just like taking turns, dropping trowel, soft serve Dairy Queen shit all over it. And you know what? I can't fault anybody for that.
Well, I mean, Buzz-Off in that episode, he's basically just sort of swooping in literally to come to the rescue, and then he goes and he gets Teela, and that's essentially what he does.
He's not, outside the Spring Dragons, like and I'm kind of surprised too, Filmation did not make more use of him. Once they've already got the animation done, you can put him into the stock system, and I just feel like he would have seemed like such a natural. And the design is beautiful. I love the design of him in Filmation, and Alan Oppenheimer did a fun Buzz voice for the character.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Like, it's fun enough to an extent, but I think I could do with a little less every time he talks,
which is overplayed. And I think his voice is more polished in Disappearing Dragons, and of course I think everything's polished so well in that episode. Like, Mechanek's voice is perfect, and then after that,
that's the other thing too, is having him paired up with Mechanek so much in these episodes. Mechanek's voice outshines Buzz-Off's so much for me. Like I think you got to put Mechanek's voice like near the tippy top of the characters in Filmation. I like his voice.
That's when I want you to go and watch the episode. Here, there are Skeletors everywhere, and hear how shitty Mechanek's voice gets in that episode.
Okay, I'll make a point to do that.
Oh my god, and that's a cameo fest in that episode. We've got Mossman, Cyclone, Modulok, Too Bad, all in that episode. They don't do shit, but Mechanek's in it, and he's got the most whiniest, nasally, voice that Lou Scheimer gave for that. And I remember asking James one time, like, do you have any idea why is it that so many of the main roster characters, the voices remain consistent, but then like Man-E-Faces, Mechaneck, Clawful, their voices, even Spikors and it was always bad.
Yeah.
But it's just like they forgot what the character talked like, and then it just becomes this mess. I'm like, what the fuck happened here? I take that back. Spikors was pretty consistent, just consistently shit.
It just sucks. Yeah.
But I just there's so many great visions. I can't wait till we discuss this one at great length. Disappearing Dragons, and they just look so cool together as this tag team duo, much like Cobra Khan and Web Store. A snake and a spider character, like that doesn't sound like it on paper, but look at the visual, like they look awesome together, much like Mechaneck and Buzz-Off do.
Yeah, I love Mechanek's. Yeah, here you go. Here's a still from
The Good Shall Survive.
Yeah, The Good Shall Survive.
Yeah,
and, all of these characters pretty terrible and forgettable.
They're not designed very well.
They're not. I mean they just look really creepy too.
Well, and all the men look like they're wearing corsets.
Yeah,
they don't look like they're wearing like the Buzz-Off like body. You can give them different heads, but the men should look very similar to Buzz-Off. And here's the I guess the early Filmation concept of what the character was like, Wasp Man, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which that would have been an interesting take had they gone that direction, but I'm glad they didn't. We got
it's fun to see, but I'm glad this isn't the direction that they went with. So Buzz-Off, reoccurring character in the Golden Books. This is probably his strongest appearance, the Rock Warriors book.
Yeah.
So here's
and it looks great. Fred Carrillo did a wonderful job of illustrating the character, and which is also featured in the Golden Book second volume VHS, because they do this story along with the Maze of Doom and Demons of the Deep.
And this is on our list of books to cover at some point.
Yeah, we will plan on covering this. It's just a fun story. It's misleading if you're a He-Man fan and think Rock Warriors, like Stone Dog Rock on. No, not quite.
These are actual rocks on the journey. And then popular enough that we get the Ben Cooper Halloween costume.
Which is, oh my God, boy, you bet your ass I'd have been all over that had I had any idea that even existed as a kid.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Well, I can't even imagine if they even pop up on eBay how much they go for. If they still have their box and they're in somewhat decent shape, it's probably... Well, let's take a look.
You know what? I'll do the same myself here, people. So,
Ben Cooper, Masters of the Universe. Because, I mean, we're a few months away from Halloween. So, why not see if we can find these costumes?
And I'm sure we'll have to pay over $1,000 because, hey, it's old. It's from the 80s.
Well, here's a He-Man one that's
okay,
$100.
$80.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And this one's just the suit, no mask, but it's like $40.
All right,
someone made a cool magnet of it. That's pretty cool.
Not terrible.
You can get the mask for about $40, and then someone here.
Buzz-Off costume only, $40 altogether. So you can. Well, it looks like
someone wants to around close to $200 for a complete one with the wings and everything. But hey, all in all,
that's not. I expected it to be higher.
Me too. The way some people just carry on and just ask for insane amounts, just because it's old.
And here are some other catalog shots. Of course, we've already seen this one when we talked about Stridor last week.
With the hot 80s mom.
Yeah, well,
I think she's hot. But yeah, I just love these catalog pictures, man. Anything that's featured like in the Sears catalog or the JCPenney catalog with these beautiful setups with both the play sets and the current roster of characters. It's like, oh,
it makes you want them more. I remember more often than not looking at G.I. Joe ones in the Christmas catalogs and just being like, oh, this looks so great. I want to do this with my figures, or I need to go try to find this figure or whatever. And just obviously, of course, circling things in the book and giving it back to my parents. And maybe they'll take the hint and see if this is circled, know that I want it, kind of thing. But,
I think the first time I ever saw any of these figures in a catalog was in kindergarten, and we were given the assignment of make a collage of a particular theme. And in my mind, I was going to do golf because I thought playing putt as a kid was so much fun because I had a golf set that my grandparents got for me. And one of my classmates was cutting up images of He-Man from the catalog. And I freaked out, and I grabbed what scraps of He-Man pictures there were left and just threw on my golf collage. And my teacher's like, what does this have to do together? I don't know. I just I just had to have He-Man on there. I thought I was going to get in trouble and be told to do it all over again, but thank God she wasn't, a bitch. And this is kindergarten.
So after the vintage line, of course, early 2000s come rolling around, and we get the 2000X version of Buzz Off. How do you feel about his design overall between this and then, as we will see here in the NYP show?
I thought the Horseman did a phenomenal job interpreting the character with the modern look at the time.
Definitely making him more insect-like with his
more gangly
limbs.
I thought it was, and they gave him the Stinger Lance, and the helmet fit on him a lot more secure too. When you put the helmet on there, it stays on there. Excuse me, it's not inclined to fall off. So I love it, and the animation looked great. I was kind of on the fence about his portrayal in the show, even though like when he first showed up in Sky War, it's like, oh my God, I was, fuck yeah. Like I was just so glad to see him. And it was so good to know that he would become a reoccurring character. Like he would be in multiple battle sequences. He'd be there in the background. Just, it meant a lot to me, that every episode wasn't just Man of Tila and He-Man and maybe one character shows up. It'd be, you'd see Manny Faces, Ram Man, Buzz Off, Mechaneck, showing up multiple times. And I liked his voice. His voice was good.
Yeah. It wasn't until I'm surprised that they didn't do something with it because, of course, in NYP with Stratos, he sounds like Sean Connery. So.
Which I'm like, and that's all anyone could talk about. When they first heard Stratos talk, I was, okay. And it's like, yes, we get it. Like, why did you guys choose to do this? Like, it's not bad for the show, but when people are just constantly making nothing but Sean Connery jokes, it's like, you know what? No one's taking this character seriously. And that's what bothered me about it, because that's all people are going to focus on. It's not like Sean Connery.
But you mentioned Sky War. The other two episodes that kind of prominently feature Buzz Off a little more are Buzz Off's Pride. Of course, if he's not featured in that, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And then Web of Evil. Web of Evil I didn't get around to watching, but Buzz Off's Pride is something that we covered years ago. It's probably something we should maybe bring up again, because it's him not wanting to admit defeat or wanting help. Well, you were talking about his portrayal of his character. He is kind of dickish in this series.
And I kind of feel like they were trying so hard to go for archetypes or give them vulnerabilities, that they have flaws, which I can appreciate that. Like Ram Man is oddly enough afraid of the dark, which is like, because he's really, really big and he runs into stuff, but he's afraid of the dark. Like, ugh. Whereas like we just got to relate to the babies, But then Buzz Off, I'm like, I didn't buy the fact that this character is hard-headed and egotistical in the sense that he can. I don't need anyone's help, but like you've already dismissed that with Sky War. Like, we don't need help from anyone else. We take care of our own. And then when he realized that the threat to eternity is getting bigger, he does need to not only protect his people, but ally himself so that way he has more help in helping protect the whole planet. So that whole idea is essentially out the window.
Yeah.
But then you're expected to kind of forget that with Buzz-Off's pride because he gets humiliated, by the three giants, which at the time I was so like, why didn't you guys use Megatar? Instead of which I've grown to appreciate Asdar, Belsdar, and Chazdar, I think are the names. They're the ABC giants is what they're referred to. And I hated them at first because like these are so fucking lame. And they're so big and Buzz-Off's like this small. It's like I kind of feel like we're getting a little too crazy with the scales on this show. Like everything's so crazy. Like tone it down a bit here. Like you guys are getting way too crazy with it. But I grew to appreciate the episode more as I got a little bit older. But I remember like reading the post on He-Man.org when it aired. A lot of people were not happy with the episode, especially when you have like a strong episode like Roboto's Gambit, and then this place like this is a bit of a stinker here. Especially with like made up characters. Like, why did you have to make up giants? You could have used references from Filmation or used Megatar, even though he was a pre-Eternia character. You could have had him as this big bullying giant, and Buzz-Off takes it upon himself to
It would have been better, in my opinion, if you would have just had one giant instead of
three. And again, you got three massive giants.
Yeah.
It's like I think you're getting way too crazy. One giant, you're absolutely right. One would have been enough. If he had friends, you could have introduced the other giants in future episodes.
Yeah, I mean, this episode is just like the deck is really stacked against
Buzz-Off, and it's fine. I would watch it again now, but I would never, because NYP, it's got lots of problems. I
think between the two episodes, like I like them both enough, but I like Skywar way more.
Skywar's got more going for it, at least with the premise.
The only thing I didn't particularly like is the designs when Skeletor, Triclops,
I knew you were going to say
and Evil Lyn, when they eat the ambrosia and they just like have red chest plates and a few spikes.
That was just lazy. Of like, you know what?
It's just tacky. It didn't look.
Well,
I could have bought it if it made them like bigger, but all we're getting this just. They look like the Road Warriors.
Well, and I blame the fact that they were trying to work in the variant of the Battle Sound Skeletor that was out at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, why did you feel the need to do the same thing with Evil and Triclops? Like the figure's been established. It should have been Skeletor eating it. Along with his magic could have given him like this enhanced look, and that's what you got. Instead of like, no, if you eat this, you get this kind of made up red armor and all these. It's like, it looks nothing like the Bee People.
And it lasts for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's just, again, shitty storytelling and a very sloppy way of working in the variant.
Yeah.
And they did that a lot with NYP.
Yeah.
Storylines to get variants in. Jesus Christ.
But aside from that, Skywar is a good episode.
Overall, yeah. That's the Skeletor variant with him and Triclops and Evil Lyn is just like, Skeletor should have been trying to instigate war between the two races in the name of destruction. Cut and dry. That is it.
But if you find yourself a little bit unfamiliar, cartoon-wise, between the two, and then your impression, in your opinion, if you think Filmation's a little too corny or something, then I think NYP is a good middle ground for you to check out to really appreciate the.
But if you think it's corny, you don't appreciate animation, so I say fuck off.
Well, I was trying to be nice.
That's me. I'm not. But people, I do not speak for Nathan Kennedy on this podcast. All thoughts are,
Yeah, all thoughts are my own. Here's the classics, which every time we get to these, I'll say it once, I'll say it every time when we do this. The classics are my favorite iteration, action figure wise, of Master of the Universe. That will never change. That's why I went and bought the vast majority of the line and have them all displayed. So just a beautiful figure. And we get both.
Yeah, you get the lance and the axe, and you know what? The horsemen are always going to deliver. That's why Mattel is fucking stupid, because they just decided, you know what? No, we don't need you guys anymore.
And then here's the Super 7.
Which wasn't bad. I didn't buy it.
It's not bad, though. And at least it comes with the lance.
Yeah, and the extra head to with the kind of helmet resting on his head,
Yep. based off of the Filmation look. And then from that, we go to the Origins version, which is not bad at all.
No, it's one of the least offensive figures they've done.
Which I kind of feel like the past couple that we've done, when we talked about the Origins versions of it, you're like, oh, that's actually not too bad. So there's a very small list of the Origins figures.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this looks appropriately.
I mean, outside of some of the shitty face sculpts and disproportionate, and I think my biggest problem is the shitty mini comics. You know,
you don't like 6 pages of nothing, essentially.
I would really love to ask the morons in charge, you know, the same people who greenlit the movie and all that shit. Like, why don't you guys put your best foot forward with this line?
Yeah.
Why do you guys you're charging $30 a fucking figure? You can't provide a decent mini comic and get someone who can draw what the fuck and someone who can write ABCs as opposed to just.
Here is the cartoon collection version in Origins line, which looks good.
It's fine. It's not bad.
Also comes with the lance. Then, of course, this is the NYP version, the 2000X version in Origins form to give them more of that insect gangly look, which this doesn't look.
The colors are so muted; it looks ugly.
It's kind of. I mean, I see what they were going for, because we talked about this more often than not too. Like NYP seemed very, the color wise, very.
It's not as vibrant.
Yeah, it's very subdued.
Yeah.
So I see what they were going for.
The sculpt is fine.
Yeah, he just looks a little too pale in his arms.
It's very pale. It needs a little pop. Oh, let's ignore this piece of shit.
It's not Masterverse. This is what, the new Eternia. I mean, it may as well just be Masterverse.
Oh, is that what they switched the subline over to? New Eternia?
Yeah, it's at some point it went from Masterverse to like New Eternia. Which once again, kind of proving Tyler's point that they can't really, they haven't, pick a lane, like stick with something here. So it's like, here's 2 different figure variations. Yes, you can get your 6-inch scale, or you can get the vintage-esque with articulation that you are used to. And we're gonna change the name of this one. Yeah, it's kind of a cluster, but yeah, there's that version. And then here's the Mondo,
which looks pretty good. It's a little too busy.
Yeah,
I think it's got a little too much, you know, like in terms of I don't know. I think it needs to be toned down a little bit. The head sculpts are fine, like the various head sculpts, the Singer Lance, the axe.
I think it's just mostly to do with like they
got too much like spikes and all this other stuff on there. It's just it's excessive.
Yeah. And then here's
this I do want to buy. And of course it's going to cost like around $200.
Yeah. The Iron Studios statue.
Yeah. I don't own any of the He-Man statues just because I just, it's the money and the space, but the Buzz-Off one I was really, really impressed with. And because it's definitely more Filmation, and you know, I like it a lot. And I don't mind, like, if I get it, just having a random one-off He-Man statue, and the only one I have is Buzz-Off.
I feel like you got to get the other ones at that point.
Well, if I had the place and a fuck ton of money to do that, but I got many comic covers I got to make.
Oh yeah, that's true. And then here it's just kind of an overlying. You can see the different variations that we kind of went through, and then a couple of the other stuff tacked on, like the Mega Construct stuff and
all the chibis.
Yeah, all the Funko Pop loyal subjects and Motu muscles and the little mini figures and things. So it's a little overview. Everyone there, and that's all I got, man.
I think it's pretty much covering everything about the character until we break down like a full-on episode, and then we kind of touched on, you know, his appearances in Filmation and NYP, and I think we get a pretty good overview of like his appearances. Like by all means, if you really have not seen it, a Buzz-Off episode, check out Disappearing Dragons.
That's the one that you need to check out the most.
It's got everything. I mean, from Granomir and 4 characters from the 84 wave, a wonderful portrayal of He-Man and Orko, and one of the best morals of the entire series. I love the moral for Disappearing Dragons. It's like one of the ones that really gets to me. I think it's a great delivery by John Irwin. about treating animals with kindness. It's just it's sweet, means a lot, and if you love animals, it ought to hit you right there.
So that is the Filmation recommendation. Skip the other 3, and then with MYP, Skywar, Buzz Off Pride.
Yeah.
Skywar kind of overall, but I would recommend both of those.
And Web of Evil fucking sucked. I've only seen it once. I haven't seen it since it aired, and it was just fucking dumb.
I didn't get the time to watch it. I squeezed in all the other stuff. That's the one I missed out on. So I will give it a watch just to have.
Well, if anyone's wondering what the fuck it's about, Webstore decides to eat a bunch of ambrosia eggs and turns into this giant fucking goofy ass spider, and then apparently dies of a stomach ache.
So we're bringing it back.
Yeah, because they handed so a character's going to die in season 2. Like, oh my god! And you think it's going to be Merman when Snake King Hiss like turns him into stone and he falls, or Snake Face turns him into stone and he falls apart and shatters. Like, Merman's fucking dead. This is awesome. No, he's brought back to life, and the Snake Men are buried in the next episode by the almighty powerful shitty versions of Zodak. So the character that dies is due to a stomach ache. Fucking dumb.
Yeah. So there's some recommendations if you want to see some more Buzz Off. Of course, Golden Books wise, we will be doing Rock Warriors sometime in the near-ish future. Tyler, let's roll into some feedback here after this commercial break.
Stay tuned.
If he climbs over the wall, they'll blow him off. If he tries to fly over the river, they'll shoot him down. If he comes back alone, they'll explode his brain. New York, 1997. One man has 24 hours to break in and break out before it's too late for escape. John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Rated R.
Persons under 17 not admitted without parent or guardian now playing. Check.
Who's brave enough to play Ghost Castle? The victim's journey, room by room. They take their chances. Along the way, anything can happen, and usually does. To win, you must reach the coffin and lay the ghost. Will anybody survive Ghost Castle from NB Games?
Ready, aim, punish. The Punisher for Nintendo. Explosive arcade action. State-of-the-art weaponry. Got the guts? The Punisher for Nintendo from LJN. Everything's a target, even you.
And we're back. Tyler, let's get into some feedback. This all comes from our mini comic review of The Ultimate Battleground. So
it's not just a battleground, it's the ultimate
battleground. We start off first, Casey Duncan. Very fun. Viper Tower was hitting.
Glad you enjoyed it there, Casey. I'm assuming when you said that, buddy, were you a fan of the Viper Tower? Because it didn't do jack shit. Like from a visual standpoint, it looks amazing. It looks great. But it doesn't do shit. Just rotate the head, nothing.
Yeah. It is kind of a bummer in that regard.
Yeah.
Ducko popped in. Because we were talking about, how did you find us? We say that every so often on the show. Ducko says, I found out about you guys a long time ago through the New Toy Smell / Pop Culture Network gang. I think the podcast was recommended on the side panel of YouTube. That was when it was you and I and Joe. I never experienced those painful early episodes when they were brand new. Of course, referring to Bozone, which I am very happy that your ears did not get to experience that. It's pretty rough.
Yeah, it was. I was happy to be a part of it because it was being a part of a He-Man podcast, which I found out not too long after I was. Brian didn't want me on at all, and that's before he really knew anything about me. I think he just thought like he was gonna be a big star or whatever the fuck, and that he knew so much. He didn't know shit. He just knew how to talk about a figure. And that's about the extent of it, And even back then, it was me coming up with all the ideas for the topics that we did, not him.
Brian was around till what? About episode 50-ish, close to.
Right before we interviewed Larry Houston and Axel Jimenez, which we had lined those up kind of close together.
Mm-hmm.
And I got so fed up with his behavior of cutting Joe and I off on a regular basis, showing up unprepared, and start playing fucking drums, just not paying attention. And I was like, man, if he does this shit right before we ever have Larry Houston, our first guest, I'm gonna lose it, man. And sure enough, he did. and spoke to him through Messenger. And he's like, "Oh well, shit happens." As if like, you don't like how I talk on the show? Like, too bad. I'm like, really? No. And it was pretty much a mutiny, and we booted him off. And then Joe went and did a podcast with him anyway.
Ducko also goes on to say, there's a timestamp here of 3515, real Eternia suburban neighborhood, and referring to how close everything is together.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know,
like the Burbs.
Yeah. And I guess I don't know who'd be the Klopex. You know, maybe the Snake Man. They're trying to deceive everybody. Like they're you know, we I'm trying to do that monologue where Tom Hanks is like, you know, like our neighbors are gone for the, and we burn it down where they're gone for the day. You know, just completely spazzing. Shut up, Art. God, you don't want to quit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just this first bit from Ducko got me thinking about those Bozone days.
Be thankful, dude. They're forgotten for a reason. Even though I really was pouring my heart into having an outlet to talk about He-Man, I was happy to talk about it. We did. That's where the ideas for character bios and breakdowns of certain things that all came from me at that time. Otherwise, it was just like, here's Zerdak with the weapons pack armor. Discuss.
Okay.
I mean, that's an exact, but gives you an idea of what the fuck was going on.
But that's kind of the thing is, at first it's exciting because you're getting to discuss it and talk about it. It's what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
That can only take you so far to where then it reaches a point of hey, I kind of want something a little more tangible to this conversation than just this on a weekly basis. So it's kind of
it was the same with Global Masters too, where you think this is going to be an opportunity to get people to really talk and open up, and it's like, no, all we know how to do is talk about current toys, and that's it. And you're like, man, this is fucking lame. And feeling like I'll never get another opportunity to talk about He-Man in my life. And that's how I walked away from that. I remember telling, I think his name was DeVault, I said, dude, all you guys want to do is talk about figure articulation. You don't want to talk about the mini comics, the cartoons, nothing. And his response was, well, that's what people want to hear. Like, based on what? And I was like, and I'm out.
Yeah, So you and I are very similar in that personality trait of it's fun at first, and it goes a long way, but then at a certain period of time, it's like, I want more out of this. It's happened to me multiple times. I remember specifically backyard wrestling stuff back in the day, my teenage years. A lot of I think there were like 12 to 20 of us at any given time, and probably 15 out of those 20 just saw it as way. It's like, oh, we're just fucking around, and it's like, yeah, we are, and that's fun to an extent, but over time, it's like, come on, let's lay the matches out better. Let's practice moves, and it was like me and a couple other guys that were really, let's do this, and we're out there practicing all the time. It's like we're writing storylines and stuff, and it's like, oh, when we go to camera, let's cut promos, let's do all this stuff, and everyone else like, I'm gonna go in here and play PlayStation. So yeah, it's very similar. It's like I want more out of something over a period of time.
Yeah, when you see the potential in this.
Yeah, when you see the potential in it, that's when the gears start turning. It really starts taking off in your mind of, let's really hone down and focus on this. So, Ducko, I'm glad you stuck around this long, but also glad that you were able to avoid the Bozone years. Brian Clifton, to answer the question of how I found you guys, I actually started watching because you had Michael French on, and I was a fan of Retro Blasting. I enjoyed your content enough to start watching weekly, and I even went back and watched older episodes. I know there were issues that arose between you, most likely Michael. I never stopped watching your content. I never miss an episode. Yeah,
I think that's cool, and we did notice, like, I think after we had him on, which was a fun time.
It was a great time.
We had a wonderful time talking with him, and he even said he had a blast talking with us. Like, we had him laughing and everything like that. And it made us feel good that, you know, we thought we would be able to do more with him. And unfortunately, you know, me and Nathan became Beavis and Butthead villains in his eyes. That's a direct quote. But we've said our piece about him. I wish him no ill will.
No,
I don't know what he's doing right now. I'm sure he's still making, you know, negative videos as opposed to focus on more like, you know.
No, I think it's a blend. I think there's still the unplugged stuff that he does where he goes off about the current state of the industry and everything. But then he's got his videos
because he put together some really fun stuff that I watched multiple times because they were a lot of fun and I could find them very relatable.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that never worked out with him and us, and that you and I got all the blame for. You know.
Well, I guess another little quick overview deal that we can talk about that again very briefly before we move on to the next subject. So the whole idea was there was going to be this video. Well, it's up. I think it's still up on his channel. Michael put out a video. It's all about Scott Neitlich and the classics line and the brand manager and all that stuff. And he was wanting. He was doing research on it, so
because he didn't know who Scott Neitlich was.
Yeah,
so he worked on He-Man. That's about it.
So we were providing all the stuff. Like, it was the putting these figures out that some people didn't want, but you had to get them because this will die if you don't buy this stuff. You have to subscribe every month. Blah blah blah. And then the fiasco of some of those figures turning up at Big Lots. And a couple
Mighty Spectre and all these other shitty characters that he's pretty much the puppet master of is like, dude, do your own thing. Don't force it on the fans. And it was a lot of infuriating stuff. And so we supplied all that. And then Scott decided he wanted to actually like mend the fences with the guy, and I believe that started because Scott mentioned retro blasting in a passing video or in a comment, and Michael here's my next video.
Yeah,
that's kind of where.
It was like this very brief internet beef thing.
Yeah, nothing because I think he told us what it was. It was nothing like a visceral attack on retro blasting, but it was an opportunity to create content essentially. So
and then it set up this thing to where they were going to have this debate, and Michael's like, can we do it on your channel? At which point Joe jumped out and was like, "Oh yeah, you can do it here. That'd be great." And then after
the rest of us, they're like the rest.
I think it was like a day later, maybe was it? It was a day or two later after that.
Well, I remember that night we all talked about it. Like after Joe went off and shot off at the mouth, the rest of us kind of got together in a collective group and to kind of discuss like. Look, he's not going to come on our podcast and admit everything he did for the line was wrong because he's proud of what he did, no matter how much people hated it. So we're going to blindside the guy on a podcast that notoriously can't stand what he did.
That was the other thing. It was like this needed to take place on a more neutral space than ours, because our whole thing was like, classics is great, but what Neitlich did with bios and all the shit that we basically, the information we provided for Michael for knowledge for his video, it's like that didn't make sense. So it's like, no thanks. At that point, when I guess he thought that this was locked in, and when I came in with when we talked about it, decided it's not the best idea, then that's when it kind of all just went up.
That's when me and Nathan got all the blame, not Joe, not Rebecca, just me and Nathan. We were the only ones, we were the bad guys. And we got a stern talking to and a private message from him. And I was at work when it was happening. I was like, man, I don't have time from working a 10, 12-hour day to sit here and go through this shit.
There was something else I was going to tag on. Oh, when they did have the debate, the channel that they had it set up on, it was just like a complete cluster. And it's like, that's probably this could have easily just have happened here. So it's glad that we didn't do it.
Yeah, because I think it made him look it didn't make him look good. And people
it didn't make anybody look good.
No,
really.
It was it didn't. It was a very forced debate where I don't think. I think the things he came in with were not any kind of zingers at Scott. I think Scott had like an answer for everything that he wanted to come in and what. I didn't watch it. I think you and a couple of others like sampled it. It just sounded like it was a big disaster.
Yeah, small doses. I saw enough of it. I was like, yeah, there's no point in me watching this. But yeah, that's the history of that again. So there you go. That's all water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned. Terrell White also popped in. Found you guys through Retro Blasting. I've been enjoying the show ever since. I'm watching all of your backlog of videos.
I'm thankful again. Another one of our loyal listeners like found us from there and stuck with us. And that, if you saw what Michael said about us, which was not, I listened to it. It was nothing that made me feel like, all right, here comes a threatening letter.
No, it was basically just like I'm no longer friends with fans of Power. Now it's kind of dry. It's like okay.
And a line was drawn in the sand. You can be friends with me or not. We're like, I think the rest of the group pretty much like,
it stuck
with us, and
it's been a wild. It gets a little bumpy sometimes, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, but Terrell and Brian, like, thank you guys for still enjoying the content and through the changes that we made and sitting through some pretty shitty episodes that were done. You made it this far, and that one video on Patreon trashing us didn't deter you from like, I really enjoy what these guys have to say about He-Man and She-Ra. So thank you guys for sticking by us.
Brian Clifton. This is comic stuff. Booster Gold is a great series. I agree that there are a lot of characters that deserve a TV series. I'd love to see Etrigan the Demon as a series. They could do flashbacks like Highlander, Jason Blood investigating supernatural events, getting in over his head and transforms into Etrigan like the Hulk. There's so many of those characters in DC that would lend themselves very well to a TV show. I will say this about the Booster Gold series from 2007. Its premise is great in the fact that he's going to be the hero that no one's really going to remember because he's doing all this time traveling stuff to fix everything. But the gimmick is starting to run a little thin where I'm like, okay, we need something else here other than like, why fix this? But this other problem has arose here. Now we got to go back and fix that. It's like, it's a little too samey for that. I'm going to keep reading it to see what changes along the way, but I definitely prefer, I think, overall the 80s interpretation over the one in 2007. Like, start strong, but I need a little more out of it now at this point. So
which makes complete sense to me from just based on what you're talking about.
Yeah, I haven't read any comics this week because I've been off work, so usually that's when I do most of my comic reading. So I need to jump in, get back into something. Maybe read the first 19 issues of Punisher War Journal before it starts skipping around.
Yeah, which I wish Marvel Unlimited could make up the damn mind. If you're going to put something up, put it all up.
Yeah.
Stop making sure all your modern bullshit is easily accessible as opposed to the old classic stuff.
Yeah. Issue 4 of Arcadia is up on the DC app, so I'll read that too and see how that's going. All right. Got a bit of a long one here. Brian Davis, you bring up the late 70s kids basically aging out of He-Man. This has been touched on before as well, and I, as a child born in 1979, would like to apologize to Tyler with an explanation of my personal observations as a 7-year-old in 1986.
Oh, boy.
At 7, I was not aging out. Of course, kids 3-4 years older were, but not all of them. The biggest problem was the amount of choices. In 86 alone, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Real Ghostbusters, MASH, Silverhawks, Thundercats, Centurions, Superpowers, and Humanoids, Rambo, just to name a few. That's not to mention, back then, stores could still order everything from the previous year, 85 in this case, from almost every line to fill their shelves. So many other awesome lines that in hindsight, I could kick myself for not focusing more on one or two. I was able to get dealer catalogs at the time. Master Universe 86 line, unlike every year before, just wasn't all must-haves for me. Not enough to pass on other things given the choice, which I think I got every Joe figure from that year. And at 7, I had zero understanding that they could stopped making He-Man completely, goes on to say. I got certain figures, Stone-Dar, Dragstore, Extendar, King Hiss. Only a year later, looking at the 87 catalog, did I truly want Eternia, which I was promptly shot down for size and cost. Totally understandable. It didn't stop me from dreaming about what the towers were and the other bits I learned about through the 87, which really hooked me. Then it was over. Side note, I wanted Eldor so badly because the hologram, A Book of Living Spells, not until 94, 95, when I got the internet, did I find out they never made him. To wrap up this comment, though, I'm sorry, Tyler. The groundwork laid in 86 for what would have been the 88 wave and beyond was shattered by all the unfocused 6 to 9-year-olds at that time, myself included. Rest in peace, Gigantosaur. And now back to finishing this episode. So,
well, to start off this response to you, good sir, in particular, and all the other individuals who decided they were done with He-Man after the 86 wave, or you decided to bot the baloney from there on out, or whatever the case may be, I have this to say to you.
You maniacs! You blew it up! Oh, damn you! God damn you all to hell!
After saying that, though, I've always held kids older than me for the reason why. But, you know, yes, you make a very valid point. The mid-'80s especially, with Thundercats, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and new heavy hitters, Silverhawks are coming along, and Humanoids, the Centurions, Bionic Six, Brave Star, Visionaries, Dino Riders in 88, I believe. Turtles comes out in 87. You know, it was one massive kumite, and it's, you know, and I'm thankful that He-Man lasted as long as it did and had the impact that it did, and Transformers and G.I. Joe continues on. But I think it should. I don't want to blame the 86 wave for the reason the line took a big decline in sales, because that when they're filming the live action movie, they freak out and say, "Oh my God, sales are down. This movie's got to be a big hit." I think it just ran its course. So from 82 to 85, it became one of the most dominating toy lines on the planet. Not any line can sit there and say that line made up billions of dollars during its heyday before it got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just unfortunate that Mattel, like, I think you and I broke it down too. The 86 wave, they put in a lot of brand new tooling into all of those figures, and then bringing the Eternia playset. I mean, they were going to the above and beyond, and then the movies in the works in the exact same year this line hits. It's like they're preparing for, like, I mean, the biggest bubble imaginable, and you know,
it couldn't last forever.
No.
It
because Transformers and G.I. Joe in the Vintage line didn't last forever either.
Yeah, it comes along being essentially the first of its kind to really push it in that extra stratosphere where toys had never really been before up until that point. And then all these other things start following suit at some point or another. Yeah, kids are going to be like, I'm tired of the sword and sorcery and the fantasy. Robots. Turtles. Like, you can't stay on top forever.
No, and I think, you know, when you start hearing some of the behind the scenes stories too, like the movie, as I've said before, was making money, but then they got pulled because Canon couldn't afford to keep it in theaters. So had the movie had more marketing behind it, and, you know, was not bounded by, you know, low budget from Canon saying, hey, we'll do it, but Mattel's going to have to pay for it.
Yeah,
pretty much fucking them over anyway. So you start breaking down all these details. It's not like, you know, Gary Goddard and crew were trying to go in and do a Michael Bay and just fuck it all up and decide that we're gonna have Snake Eyes talk. I'm making fun of the G.I. Joe movies when I say that, but, you know, they had the best interests at heart. But Mattel, you know, it said, like, you can't have them do violent stuff, and then, oh no, wait, we changed our mind. You can do whatever you want. And it's too late by that point in the budget, and Canon. So, like, you're again, if you guys would watch the documentary, it's like a 12-15 minute documentary that's not been released on home video, but that was for the Toy Masters documentary that never got released on He-Man. And they interview a lot of the behind the scenes cast or crew, excuse me, of the movie. They give you a little bit more extra details of like what was going on with that movie. And if you listen to our old interview with William Stout, the first one, and he clarifies that the movie was making money for 3 straight weeks and then was pulled from theaters. And then somehow everyone gets it in the mind that the movie was a flop. So it's people were going to see it, and the toys by that point, they've just run their course. So, and Filmation is not doing any more episodes. They're moving on to Sheer, and then they move on to Brave Star. You know, it's just kind of the stars were just kind of aligning. Okay, you've had your time. You've set a precedent, and you will be remembered forever. But now it's time for other toy lines and other kids to come along. And Turtles.
It's time for Turtles. It's Turtle time.
Yeah, because He-Man's last year is the same year Turtles came out officially on Toy Story and didn't hit its boom until probably 88, 89.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, it's almost as if like it maybe was spared with declining sales for it to be trying to fight for shelf space with Turtles at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, G.I. Joe is still going strong. Transformers is starting to die down. Thundercats is dying down. It's
you had to be appreciative that it went that long, because I mean, you think about that, those 3 that you just brought up, I don't think they didn't have that amount of dominance like Master Universe did, or Turtles would go on to have. So
yeah, I mean, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and He-Man were like the dominant 80s toy lines by far, even though I feel like He-Man had 2 movies. They had an animated movie, Secret of the Sword, and the live action movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that they broke through, you know, to an unbelievable amount in a very short amount of time, whereas G.I. Joe lasted from 82 to 94. So they went on for 12 years. Very excellent run, whereas Transformers was canceled and brought back as Generation 2. You know, and Thundercats only lasted like two waves, 2 seasons. You know, it's Silverhawks lasted, I think 3. I think Thundercats maybe was given 3 if you count some of the. I think it may have been broken up with 3 was maybe, but short-lived. You know,
well, it's got to be
short-lived as well. Bionic 6 got 1 wave. Brave Star only got 1 wave.
Yeah.
You know, Visionaries was short-lived. Dino Riders was short-lived. You know, though Turtles, and that's the Mount Rushmore of classic toys that had the biggest impact on popular culture and kids, with He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Turtles. No other toy line until Power Rangers comes along was that fucking dominant.
Yeah, Power Rangers would be next in line after Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And then
because they took over as Turtles was dying.
And then there's not really anything toy-wise after that was as dominant.
It's pretty much Pokemon. That becomes just more about the cards than anything.
Yeah, that's not toys. That's just mostly cards and video games at that point. So, yeah.
And then the Renaissance starts back in the early 2000s with we're bringing them all back.
Yeah, because then they just got to cater to these kids that bought all this shit and continue to do so to this very day. But we had this in our chat, our premiere chat.
But I take your apology there. I just want to say that, yes, I accept your apology. And it's all in fun when I say that stuff. But I hate that I didn't get to experience so much more. But if I didn't, I wouldn't be here today with the insatiable hunger that I've got for this property.
Yeah, that's very true too. You could have been just one of the kids that like had it for a little bit and then just forgot about it over time. But in our premiere chat, I couldn't think of exactly what that was. Johnny Cock goes on to say this: do you think these voice actors really knew they were doing something that could be huge while they were recording, or was it until they became guests at conventions before they really knew it? I think it's not until the con circuit really starts appreciating the voice actors that they see the significance of the work that they put in. It's something that we talk about all the time. I think some of them are probably like, yeah, this is really popular right now, and I get to do this, and this is fun, but I don't think the cultural impact of it really hit them until years later when they're...
Yeah, when the kids that was the target artist grew up. and they reminisce and they're nostalgic, or they just never got out of it, like a mate like me, and to tell these people that, oh my God, like these characters you played, like I still want to watch the VHS tapes. I'm still recreating visuals in my head of you, how they talked is you gave life to these characters. And yeah, it was definitely much, I'd say, when the early days of the internet and message boards and that's people start to kind of recognize, like Larry Kenney, the voice of, Lion-O, Alan Oppenheimer, the voice of Skeletor, and Melinda Britt, the voice of She-Ra, and Peter Cullen and Frank Welker start to recognize, oh my God, these characters that I played like over 10 years ago, people still care about this stuff.
Yeah. Go watch Tyler's interview with Frank Welker. There's a point in it where he talks about having to just bounce around to all these places and record so much in a day. So I really don't think he was thinking about any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a job, steady paycheck, from Ghostbusters to GoBots to working on Bionic 6. The list goes on and on.
Muppet Babies.
Yeah, Muppet Babies. These guys were in such high demand, like, just to be thankful that all you got to do is show up and do a voice, and that's it. And move head on over to Ruby Spears, or head over to Hanna-Barbera, or back over to Filmation, or
it's a good payday.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah,
I assume that they weren't. Well, I mean, he had enough work lined up that even if he wasn't getting paid particularly well between each, it probably accumulated to a good.
I'd like to think so, because I mean, he's doing like little voice moments for movies. I mean, like for Beastmaster 2, he's the voice of Beastmaster's hawk in the sky at the end of the movie, like that's Frank Welker. Or he does the voice of Shao Kahn at the end of Mortal Kombat. Like, just
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Frank Welker. It's the Dr. Claw voice, basically.
You bring up Mortal Kombat, which also thanks for all the comments and stuff.
Absolutely, wonderful comments, everybody, and thanks so much for all of those who stuck with us for a very long time. And
yeah,
not
and if you've just been here for a month or two, thanks for being here, checking it out, showing up week to week, and clicking on the video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you smash that like button. You brought up Mortal Kombat. I did watch. As I said it would, I watched Mortal Kombat 2. Pleasantly surprised by it. Like, yeah, some of the dialogue in it's a little shitty still. You would have what's the name of that
Cole.
Shitty kick? You would have loved a certain part in this. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I'll tell you after the show. You would have loved this part in particular, but some of the dialogue kind of shitty. I blew past that. Kano's really funny in it.
See, he was one of the parts I hated the most in the first one. Was like, he's not funny. He's just saying, "Fuck off, pussy." I'm like, oh God.
He's still mostly that way, but some of the stuff that he says, I thought was funny. They do a good job of when the fights take place. They take place on stages that you remember from the games. They did a good job with that. So overall, it's not the absolute best it could have been, but it's way better than that first one that they came out with a few years back. Does it hold? Does it overtake the throne of what we got in 1995? Absolutely not. That's still the best one for sure, but easy second place. I know that's not a high bar to set.
Yeah, considering they've had a shitty live action series, a shitty animated series, a shitty animated movie, a shitty sequel, a shitty reboot.
Yeah.
The bar is set pretty damn low.
Yeah, it's an easy second place, though. I enjoyed it for what it was. I found myself enjoying that more than I did Master Universe, which I don't need to talk about that anymore. I already said my piece about it. I'm already moving on with my life. We'll see what happens if it ends up getting a sequel.
God, I hope not. Jesus Christ!
I do hope we get Mortal Kombat 3, because the way that they set it up at the end too, I'm like, I would like to see those events play out. So yeah, it's on HBO Max right now. If you don't want to fork over the money to rent it or own it digitally, and you got a HBO Max subscription, you can check it out there. They actually sponsored AEW Dynamite and Collision this week, which I thought was interesting because it's like, oh, this episode is sponsored by Mortal Kombat 2, now on HBO Max. And then you hear Tony Schiavone say, finish him. And I'm like, all right, that's interesting. Sure, whatever. So that's what that was. Let's see real quick. Was there anything else that there's a couple other things. I watched this last night. Tom sent me a clip of it. I found the whole thing on YouTube, so I'm like, eventually I'm going to check this out. Movie called Stick Fighter from 1994. It didn't release until 97, but some fantastic person uploaded the whole thing onto YouTube, and it's a pretty good shit movie. I liked it quite a bit. Watched Labyrinth for the first time ever in my life.
Well, I didn't realize that was the first time you'd ever seen it.
Maybe I saw some of it as a kid. I have no recollection of it, so this was my first time watching
Holy
it.
Shit, I can't believe that. Wow.
Yeah. What a great, like the story itself pretty basic, but my God, Jim Henson and his crew, that is like probably the best work they've ever done was on that movie.
Outside of their work on Turtles, it's damn near unmatched. I mean, the Dark Crystal too is another, like, I've had a hard time sitting through that movie, but the visuals in it, it's just like, oh my God, it's unbelievable, you know.
But very much enjoyed. I watched Kingpin because it's free on YouTube. I haven't watched that in a while. It's fantastic. You'll probably get a stinger from that at the end of this episode. I'll work that one in. I did put on In Search of Darkness, that first one. I tossed it on I fell asleep to it, but in a good way. It reminded me a lot of those Bravo countdown shows.
Yeah. The 100 scariest moments.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that. Not a bad thing. And it's like, oh, this is 4.5 hours. Put this on, and I would doze off and wake up and be like, oh, it's Evil Dead. Oh yeah, that one's pretty good. I'd fall back asleep again.
I'd like to watch the others, but I just haven't pulled the trigger because they're not cheap. I bought the first one and I enjoyed it. I've had no craving to go back and rewatch it, but I know some of the sequels, like they talk about, I know they touch on Alligator.
You should just I think they're all on Shudder. So since you have Prime and you got Prime Video, you can just make Shudder an add-on for it for a little bit and then just cancel that off when you've watched everything you want to watch.
Because they've done, like, they're getting ready to do one on the 70s horror movies. They've done I think 2 on the 90s, 3 on the 80s.
Yeah.
And they all look intriguing, you know. I
guess you got to worry about the concept wearing a little thin after a period of time.
It's also like it's nothing groundbreaking. It's just it's horror celebrities talking about how good these movies are. And that's
like, I know, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, we're well aware of why this movie. I would much rather than really break down a movie. You know, that's why I wish, like, some of these horror documentaries, which hopefully, like the new Jaws one that's coming out, or I think the pre-order's gonna be done next month, the beginning of August. That it's people really, I mean, seriously breaking down everything about the movie, not just, oh yeah, I remember filming that. It was pretty tough. That's about it. It's like,
we're getting you back on your special features rant.
Oh yeah, but I often feel like, you know what, if no one else is going to do it, you do it yourself. And that's why I look forward to, I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but the next thing that me and Nathan can be working on for this channel is something.
Oh, we can spoil it next week.
The next episode you'll be seeing is our celebration of the Jaws films, all 4 of them.
Yeah.
In a tier list discussion where we'll rank certain elements from all 4 films, but also talk about them at great length, because there's things that, you know, you can fart, as I've said before, and hit something on YouTube and someone's trashing the sequels. Like, it's been done a million times, but I feel like oftentimes they're not saying anything new. Like, give me something else here. Don't just try and make a name for yourself because you want to shit on the Jaws sequels. Anyone can do that. I really want you and I for the listeners to really like elaborate, especially when you find out what was planned to be done, what they changed their mind, what could have been done, what they wanted to do, and things that were never touched on at all. Mm-hmm. And there's a certain element in those movies that starts with the first film I really wish was elaborate in the sequels. And I'm like, man, that could have made for really compelling storytelling and expanding characters. And it's just not, it's hinted at in a one line of dialogue in one of the sequels, and then it's pretty much forgotten after that.
So that's where you are going to come in and just really give the trivia basically for each movie that we can kind of go off of as well. So,
well, and I feel like there's stuff out there, you know, on 2, 3, and 4. They've done some interviews. Some of them are okay. They don't give you anything groundbreaking. You know, like the Daily Jaws did like interviews with most of the cast of Jaws 2, I think about a year or so ago, with the originally hired director and the actual director and a ton of the cast sharing their stories and stuff like that too. And they were good, but I'm like, man, there's still, I feel like more details they could have dug into and get more of a bite, no pun intended, out of these interviews with this cast about this movie, and especially about John Hancock, who was hired to direct Jaws 2 for 2 weeks, different script, no Roy Scheider, and then he's canned, and only one scene in the movie is left in Jaws 2 that he filmed, and it's worked into it as well.
Okay,
but just details like that. And same thing with Jaws: The Revenge. Everyone like, no, Jaws 3 is by far the shittiest of the sequels, but Jaws 4, with all its faults, has got some good things in there. I'm not gonna sit there and say it's a unappreciated gem, because it's not that. But there's some good things in it. But then also stuff that I think people are over. I will say this: there's one thing, and I saw one Jaws fan in recent weeks mention this. Like, okay, so that's not just me who notices this. There's one problem, or one of the biggest problems in Jaws 4 that everyone likes to point out happens in all 3 Jaws movies, or all 4, and no one talks about it. And I've noticed it over the years. Like, I'm seeing this. How come everyone else says this film is the only film guilty of this? Because it does it in every film, from the original 2 to 3 and 4. There's a common trait that people shit on Jaws' Revenge all for doing, but it's in all 4 films.
Well, get your guesses going, because that's what we'll be doing next week. Yeah. So I watched Jaws 1 and 2 recently. Of course, I'm going to rewatch them. I haven't watched Jaws 3 in a long. It's been over 10 years.
It's the hardest to revisit.
Yeah. So we'll be doing that. We'll have our categories. We'll tier it up. Tyler will have some bonus tidbits, of course, spread throughout as we're going through the conversation. So look forward to that on the channel very soon. So with that said, Tyler, let's go ahead and let's wrap this episode up. Hope everyone enjoyed us talking about Buzz Off, Bozone, some of the other shit, all that, some of the history of things that have happened over the years. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment down below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe. And until later, let the power return.
What is it about good sex that makes me have to crap?
Kingpin.
She'll say, don't tell me you don't. Is that Sleepless in Seattle?
Yeah.
So
Tom Hanks says that, yeah. Or maybe it's You Got Mail, also with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
And Meg Ryan doing the same shit.
Yeah, I guess it kind of is pretty similar in that.
I think it's what they were going for. They were trying to relive that magic of Sleepless, which I've only seen chunks of. I've never seen all of either one of them.
Sleepless in Seattle is good. You Got Mail I don't think I've watched all the way through. I think I've just seen pieces of it.
I did like When Harry Met Sally because I feel like that's the
that's a
good brilliant movie. That's fucking brilliant. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But Kingpin is definitely one of the most. That would be a Mount Rushmore of like top comedies, like The Burbs, Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin. And I really have to think about the fourth spot because there's a lot of great comedies out that I really champion. But when I think great comedies of all time, those three always come to mind. I don't put Ghostbusters on because Ghostbusters is like Hall of Fame for me. That's above and beyond comedy.
Yeah, it's like Ghostbusters is a comedy, but it transcends the genre.
Yeah, I mean,
but not in a way that it needs to be like this. Whatever they've been doing with it recently.
You mean like
I don't know how to explain
making
it.
Shitty sequels and
yeah, it's so Ghostbusters is a very odd thing when you really look at it and think about it because it's a comedy and for the longest time all we had was that in Ghostbusters 2 and a cartoon, of course.
And I wish in hindsight that's all we ever got.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know. What a weird time. They were taking it's like Rambo, Bill and Ted, all this stuff gets a cartoon and sequels. Some shit's just weird that way, I guess. But looking forward to Jaws.
I am so excited to really, go into graphic, insane detail about all four films with you, man. Like I'm just chomping at the bit, pun intended. I got a million of them.
Yeah, get the popcorn, get your blanket, get comfortable because it's probably going to be a long one.
Anticipate a good at least 2 hours, if not more.
It's easily going to be.
It's gonna be a long, but I'm looking forward to it. I told Nathan I bought the Jaws 3 4K to watch because I got rid of my DVD copy because I'm like, man, I can't watch this piece of shit. It's so fucking bad. I love the poster. I love the concept. But man, I'm like, it's so fucking, oh God.
And now you get to watch it.
I'm gonna watch it in 4K. I just when I got rid of it, pull it right back in, and I really wish I just had that feeling of how I really wanted to watch it as a kid, and looking at the box and like renting it and then losing interest and thinking like, let me give it another shot. And lose interest and like, maybe it'd be better this time. Like, no, it's not going to get any better.
Well, we shall see how some of it falls on the tier list. But enjoy this clip from Kingpin, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for your time.
A big military train derailed, and this whole area is in danger of being contaminated by a huge cloud of shit. A huge cloud of shit. Wow. God, I think I smell it. Come on, let's go. Come